Hi everybody, welcome to Shivers and Happy New Year's Eve. Today we are doing a review recap for all 2025 horror movies that we have done a review for. So I'm going to go in order from lowest rated to highest rated, not necessarily in order from how they were released. So at last place for 2025 horror movies, and let me also clarify, these are just movies that were feature films. So this does not include anything that was like a side project or something that came out just on Shudder or something like that. These are movies that were in the movie theater that we did a review for. So in last place, we have Until Dawn. We gave that a 2.6 rating out of 5. This is just a bad movie. I love the Until Dawn game. I talk about it all the time. Supermassive Games is a wonderful gaming industry and company. They do all those choose your own adventure games. And for them to even just like approve this as a movie, which has very little to do with the actual game, is kind of crazy. So Until Dawn definitely deserves last place. Next would be Keeper. A lot of people did like this because it was different, but this gets a 3 out of 5. This to me was the perfect example of a movie that just like was not fleshed out. It has all the makings of something that could be really cool and really good. At the ending of the movie, there's really cool creatures that we see. So the creativity is there, but the story is just really flat. After Keeper, we have Weapons, which is very highly contested. A lot of people loved Weapons. I loved the structure of it, how we have a whole bunch of different perspectives and views, but for the actual movie, we don't get enough of the lore. And there's a lot of talk that we're going to get a prequel to Weapons to explain it, but I feel like if you have to make a prequel to a movie, you just didn't do a great enough job of explaining that movie. So that's sort of my hot take on Weapons. Again, I get the gore and the reason why people like it, but it's third to lowest on our list. Next up is Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This gets a 3.1 as it stands right now because this is the most recent horror movie that has come out. This does have 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it is technically the lowest rated horror movie of the year, but it's another example of just they have all the makings of something that could be really good, and they just didn't flesh out the story enough. Next up is The Monkey. This gets a 3.4. If I were to review it again, I would put it a little bit lower. I had such issues with The Monkey because not only are the characters just very poorly developed, I think the acting is really absolutely atrocious. I am a huge Theo James fan. I think that he's really great, but for him to be playing a twin that is also himself, I have issues with that because I have a twin sister. We're identical and everybody thinks that we look the same because we do are identical twins. But if somebody were to portray themselves as their own twin on TV, there's not an evil twin, a good twin. We're just two different people. The only thing we have in common is just how we look. So for that, it was just such stereotypical characters. It was like, did a child write these characters? Like, it's not great. So after The Monkey, I have a little bit of an asterisk, but it is The Running Man. I really, really enjoyed The Running Man, and I would have rated it a little bit higher, but because we have The Long Walk that came out, and they have such similar storylines, I had to drop it down. The Running Man does have a 3.4. This is probably the only movie on this list that doesn't deserve as low a rating as I gave it, but it's justified because of all of the other movies that have come out this year. Specifically, again, like The Long Walk, that's kind of in the same universe, even same genre. So if The Running Man came out last year with not as great horror movies that we have this year, it would have been a whole lot higher. So Running Man is one that is a little bit low, but I would still recommend going to see it. After The Running Man, we have Shelby Oaks. That is a 3.5. This is a cool found footage paranormal movie, which we really didn't get much of this year, but another one that is just a little bit too, I don't want to say simple, but simple. There's not a whole lot of oomph to it. Even when we went as a group to go see it in the movies, there's really not much to talk about. It was like, all right, what's the next movie? So Shelby Oaks really did drop the ball. After Shelby Oaks, we have Drop, speaking of dropping the ball, with 3.6. I liked Drop for what sounds like a hypocritical reason. It is simple. We're in a building, we're just in pretty much like one scenario where we have a lot of tension that's built up. This is an example of a movie that if you're going to keep it simple, you have to keep it tense, and they did a good job at that. So the ending, the storyline could have been a little bit better for Drop, but overall, it's not bad. This is one of those that I say, like, if you're cleaning your house and want a movie on in the background, I always recommend Drop. It's a good background movie, a good like party movie. After Drop, we have Wolfman with 3.7. Wolfman was the very first horror movie that came out for 2025. So it's a really unique way of seeing a werewolf transformation and more of that folklore style, but in horror writing. I thought that this was a cool way to start the year, but this is not really a movie that I would go back and revisit again. After Wolfman, we have Heart Eyes. This is 100% up to interpretation. You either love this movie or you absolutely hate it and think it's the worst one of the year. Heart Eyes for me at a 3.7 because I love parodies. I love anything that's kind of making fun of itself. Heart Eyes is so bad that it's good. It really does feel like a parody movie, and for that reason, I really did enjoy it. It's a one that I think I'm going to come back to every Valentine's Day. It has humor, it has horror, it has gore. I would put it in the same category as Thanksgiving. It's just like absurd, but it makes it kind of fun. For next up, we have 28 Years Later. They are 3.8. This is a cool one. This is what I would consider more of like a boy movie. It's much more action horror than it is stereotypical horror, but I liked it a whole lot more than I expected to. I don't know that I will necessarily go out of my way to go see like The Bone Collector or any others that they come out with. I think they're starting to really try to build a universe that's similar to The Walking Dead, and they're kind of going down that path where it's like, just quit while you're ahead. I really like the acting in it. I think I have a lot of issues on a regular basis with kid actors, but he did a really great job in this movie. So 28 Years Later is pretty decent. Next up, we have Good Boy, also at 3.8. This is that very unique movie that came out in like October, September, about a horror movie from a dog's perspective. This I don't think needed to be in the movie theater. I would have much rather preferred it if I like came across it on streaming and was just pleasantly surprised. But I think it's unique enough and well done enough that we can really rate it a little bit higher. Next up, we have The Housemaid. This does have a 3.9. Also a movie that I thought was a lot better than I expected. I do really like when movies stick to books, and this, for the most part, sticks to the book. There's a couple of discrepancies, but for the idea of The Housemaid having a lot of superstars and still being able to hold that tension, I'm impressed, and I liked it also a whole lot more than I expected. Next up, we have The Woman in the Yard. I really liked this movie, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. This gets a 4 out of 5. To me, this is a perfect movie about grief. This is exactly what I would talk about if I were doing like a shadow work session and somebody's like, well, I don't know what to read or what to write to or watch to kind of go through some of these emotions. This is exactly what I would tell them to go watch. This is a very sad but very poignant movie. This is not one that you watch lightly. This I would put in the same category as Talk to Me. It's heavy, but it needed to be made, and I really like it, and I wish more people were talking about it. After that, we have The Conjuring: Last Rites, also 4 out of 5. It's not necessarily a great movie by any stretch, but if you want that Conjuring vibe, they did it, and you'll get that. So really, there's not much to talk about with The Conjuring: Last Rites. It's another Conjuring movie. It feels like a Conjuring movie. It feels appropriate to the franchise. That's really all there is to say about that. After that, we have Him with 4 out of 5. I'm a big fan of football, a big fan of horror, obviously. And to have that combo is really cool. I do not think by any stretch this is Jordan Peele's best work, but I love all the Easter eggs in the background. I love everything that we get to kind of go on the scavenger hunt for in the meantime. I like that competitive drive that we see throughout the whole movie. and how scary that can be, of not only like selling your soul, but also just the idea of like, how far will you go? What will you sacrifice? What will you give? So all of that you see in that sports center mindset, and even the gladiator style of almost like fighting for it. So I thought it was pretty good. I did expect it to be a little bit better, but I still really liked it. After him, we have the Black Phone 2. This got a 4.3. I know not a lot of people liked the Black Phone 2 as opposed to Black Phone 1. Black Phone 1 is definitely much better, but Black Phone 2 still really, I think, continued on with a great story. They did a great job of fleshing out the actual storytelling of it. They picked up right where we left off, so this is one where you would have to watch the Black Phone 1 to go see Black Phone 2. But they did a great job with the pacing. They did a great job with the storyline. They explained why no one is coming up to the camp, why XYZ is happening. Not just, oops, power went out, gotta go figure out what's going on. Like, everything had a purpose and a reason. So I love that. After Black Phone 2, we have Final Destination Bloodlines. Everyone keeps yelling at me for putting this as high as I did. This is in third place with a 4.4. I love Final Destination. It's the same mentality as Heart Eyes. I love humor. I love comedy. I love parodies. And so the absurdity of the Final Destination franchise is just one that I've always loved. I have a whole collection of DVDs of the Final Destinations from before this one. So you have to like Final Destination movies in order to like Final Destination Bloodlines. But if you like all the other 5, you will absolutely like this one. In second place, we have Together with a 4.7. This, to me, was just such a surprise. I didn't have any expectations of even going to see it because I was like, a horror movie where there's body horror and there's romance and there's also pretty high stars. I have no desire to go see that. I absolutely loved it. I really hated the ending. That is my biggest qualm with it. But same sort of mentality as Final Destination, same sort of mentality as Black Phone, I should say. Everything had an answer. Everything had a purpose. Why is this happening? Because it ties back to this, because we found this, because we touched this, because we blah, blah, blah. Everything has an answer. And then it's also the whole conversation behind codependency, hyper-independence, real relationship style exploration in a way that we really haven't seen much in horror movies outside of obsession or kidnapping even. So to have this, I loved this movie. And then in first place, I keep talking about it, I will not stop talking about it, is The Long Walk. This is the only movie from doing all of these movie reviews that I have ever given a 5 out of 5. I love that Hunger Games dystopian horror. I love Stephen King. And to combine these two in a way that feels very real, that feels very purposeful, that feels like something that we're headed towards, it starts a conversation. And this is also the very first review where like I really added my own opinions. So it's a very freeing movie. It's a movie where it gets you talking, it gets you thinking. I think every single person in the whole wide world should be required to see this movie. I loved it. I can't say enough good things about The Long Walk. So let me know what your favorite movie of 2025 was. We have a really unique year behind us now of horror movies that include a lot of deep thinking. So as we go into 2026 with some of these new quirkier horror movies, I would say, I'm interested to see sort of the patterns that we get. Are they going to be as deep in thought? Are they going to be a little bit less? Are they going to be more fun? I'm not sure what to expect, but all I know is that 2025 was a really great year for horror, and I'm really excited. I'm really grateful to see what's coming up. So let me know what some of your favorites were from this year, what you're looking forward to for 2026. Thank you as always for your support and for watching, and I hope you have a happy, healthy new year.